In 1907, the Ohio State Beekeepers Association published a set of spring inspection guidelines assembled from the management practices of its most consistently productive commercial members. The document has been out of print for over a century. What it described was not a health checklist. It was a projection tool, a systematic 10-minute reading of 5 specific data points that together predicted, with documented accuracy, how a given colony would perform at the August honey extraction. The beekeepers who contributed to those guidelines had spent years comparing May inspection records against August superweights across multiple apiaries and multiple seasons. The correlation they found was not between obvious health indicators and production outcomes. It was between specific architectural and demographic measurements taken in May and the forager population available to work the late summer flow. A colony with healthy brood, an active queen, and adequate population could still produce a disappointing August crop. And the May inspection, read correctly, predicted which colonies those would be 3 months before extraction confirmed it. The beekeepers who read it correctly had time to act. The beekeepers who performed only a standard health assessment had no warning until the supers came off light. Today, the standard spring inspection protocol has not fundamentally changed from what it was in the 1890s, and neither has its core limitation. It tells you whether the colony is currently healthy. It does not tell you whether the colony is currently on a demographic trajectory that will produce the forager population the August flow demands. Those are different questions. They require different data. And the May inspection that generates the second answer takes the same 10 minutes as the inspection that generates only the first. The 5 data points that the 1907 Ohio Commercial Inspection Protocol recorded, and that together generate a demographic projection rather than a health snapshot, are not exotic or difficult to obtain. They require no special equipment. They can be extracted from any standard brood frame inspection by a beekeeper who knows what to record and why the numbers matter. The first is brood nest footprint, the number of frames showing active brood, recorded and compared against the previous inspection's written record. Not estimated, but recorded and directly compared against last week's entry. The second is the open cell ratio within the queen's active laying zone, the proportion of cells within the brood frames that are empty and available for the queen's next laying pass, rather than filled with capped brood, honey, or pollen pressing in from the periphery. The third is population trajectory, whether adult bee coverage across all frames is increasing, stable, or declining compared to the previous visit's written record. The fourth is super readiness, whether drawn comb is already positioned within the forager unloading zone, adjacent to the brood nest expansion area, not separated above an excluder, in the configuration that allows incoming nectar to move to available cells without architectural friction during the flow. The fifth is bloom calendar alignment, whether the colony's current demographic trajectory will produce a peak forager population at or before the anticipated primary late summer nectar flow in this specific regional forage landscape. These 5 measurements, recorded in sequence during a standard inspection, generate a picture of where the colony is going rather than only where it currently stands. If this kind of biology-first inspection discipline is useful to your management, a like and subscribe helps this reach other serious beekeepers. And I'd love to know, do you record anything between inspections for comparison, or do you assess each visit in isolation? The first data point, brood nest footprint comparison across consecutive inspections, is the diagnostic measurement most beekeepers never make because it requires a written record from the previous visit. A beekeeper who opens a hive in May and counts 7 frames of active brood has one number. A beekeeper who opens the same hive and counts 7 frames while their notebook shows 6 frames from the previous week has a diagnostic reading. The colony is expanding at 1 frame per week, consistent with a first-year queen near her biological peak. A beekeeper whose notebook shows 7 frames from the previous week has a different reading entirely. The brood nest has not expanded in 7 days under conditions that should support expansion. That plateau, as documented in the 1919 queen management video on this channel, is the earliest readable signal that the queen's laying rate is beginning to decline, appearing weeks before any visible brood pattern problem and months before the August production gap it produces becomes visible at extraction. The footprint comparison requires a written record, a return visit within 7 to 10 days, and the discipline to compare rather than simply assess. It takes approximately 90 seconds of the 10-minute inspection. No equipment beyond a notebook. And it is the single measurement most likely to trigger a management decision, a May requeening, a brood nest expansion, a superpositioning correction that changes the colony's August outcome while the window for that change is still open. The beekeeper who makes this comparison on every May visit is managing a colony whose demographic future is visible. The beekeeper who assesses without comparing is managing a colony whose demographic future will only become visible at extraction. If this research is useful, the join button below supports it. Members get the monthly Beekeepers Almanac and historical recipe cards. The second data point, open cell ratio within the queen's active laying zone, connects the May inspection directly to both swarm prevention and production optimization simultaneously, as documented in the 1936 backfill detection video on this channel. A queen's daily egg output is governed not by her biological maximum, but by the open cell inventory available within her natural movement circuit on any given day. When cells adjacent to the brood zone are occupied by nectar backfill, pollen, or capped honey that has migrated into the laying territory, the queen's circuit encounters fewer prepared cells per pass, and her daily output declines, not because she is failing, but because the architecture is failing her. The May inspection that records open cell ratio within the laying zone is asking a different question than the standard pattern assessment. Not, is this brood pattern solid? But does this queen have sufficient open cells within her natural circuit to lay at or near her biological maximum today? A colony with a beautiful solid brood pattern may simultaneously have a queen whose open cell inventory is being squeezed by peripheral backfilling, producing fewer eggs per day than the August forager pipeline requires, while showing no visible diagnostic signal that standard inspection practice would flag. Recording the approximate proportion of open versus occupied cells within the active brood frames takes approximately 60 seconds of the 10-minute inspection. It reveals whether a single frame of drawn comb inserted at the correct position, as documented in the 1924 supering video, will release the queen's output immediately, or whether the brood nest requires more substantial correction before the late summer flow arrives. A beekeeper who makes this assessment in May has a correctable problem. A beekeeper who misses it will discover the production consequence at August extraction. The third data point, population trajectory, is the measurement most beekeepers approximate visually without recording, which means they have no systematic basis for comparison between visits. A beekeeper who estimates that a colony has good coverage on 7 frames has a current state assessment. A beekeeper whose notebook shows good coverage on 6 frames from the previous week has a trajectory reading. The population is growing. The colony is building toward the forager surplus that peak flow demands. A beekeeper whose notebook shows 7 frames from the previous week has a different reading. The adult population has not grown in 7 days. This stagnation may have multiple causes: a brief queen interruption, a cold period that slowed brood emergence, disease pressure not yet visible on the frames, but any of them represent a deviation from the expected demographic growth trajectory that a first-year spring queen under favorable May conditions should be producing. The population trajectory measurement also provides the essential denominator for the open cell ratio assessment. A colony with 6 frames of brood and strong adult bee coverage across 8 frames has a favorable nurse-to-brood ratio. Nurse bees are available, feeding demand is being met. The queen's output is supported by adequate workforce. A colony with 7 frames of brood and coverage only across 7 frames is approaching the ratio where nurse bee availability becomes the limiting factor rather than laying space. These two colonies may look similar at a glance. They are at different demographic positions relative to the June and July brood rearing that determines August forager numbers. Recording population trajectory takes the same visual scan any beekeeper already performs. It only requires writing the result down and comparing it to last week's number. The fourth data point, super readiness, is the one most beekeepers believe they are already managing correctly because they are aware of the general need to add supers before visible congestion appears. But the forager cycle time biology documented in the 1924 supering video on this channel established that the timing and positioning of drawn comb matters at a precision most beekeeping advice does not specify. The May inspection that records super readiness is not asking, do I have a super on this hive? It is asking, is drawn comb positioned within the forager unloading zone, adjacent to the active brood expansion area, not separated above an excluder, in the configuration that allows incoming nectar to move to available cells without architectural friction when the flow begins? A beekeeper whose inspection confirms drawn comb adjacent to the brood nest's upper edge with no excluder placed above it, yet has confirmed that this data point is correctly managed. A beekeeper whose inspection reveals foundation above an excluder or drawn comb at the outer edge of the box rather than adjacent to the expanding cluster has identified a correction that is still available in May and will meaningfully change the colony's summer production outcome if made in the next 7 days. The Super Readiness Check adds approximately 60 seconds to the inspection, a quick assessment of what is above the brood nest, where it is positioned relative to the forager delivery zone, and whether the architecture above will allow the colony to process incoming nectar at maximum throughput from the first day of the flow. It is not a new inspection task requiring additional time or equipment. It is a different question asked of the same boxes and the same above brood configuration the beekeeper was going to observe anyway. And in May, unlike in July, the answer still has time to produce a correctable result before the flow begins. The fifth data point, bloom calendar alignment, is the only one that requires information from outside the hive, and it is the measurement that converts the previous four from current state assessments into a genuine demographic projection. The question it answers is, given the colony's current expansion rate, open cell ratio, population trajectory, and super configuration, will the colony's forager population peak at or before the primary late summer nectar source in this specific regional landscape? Goldenrod peaks in late August to early September across much of the temperate Northeast. Fall aster follows in September. Buckwheat has a specific and predictable bloom window. The beekeeper who knows the anticipated peak of their primary late summer source and works backward through the 42-day developmental arithmetic, egg to forager, arrives at the critical laying date, the point before which the queen must be producing her maximum daily output if those eggs are to become foragers available at the flow peak. In May, with 13 to 16 weeks before most late summer flows peak, there is still time to correct a demographic trajectory running behind. The colony whose May inspection reveals a brood nest plateau, a constrained open cell ratio, a slowing population trajectory, and an incorrectly positioned super is a colony currently on course to miss its late summer potential. Every one of those conditions has a correction available and effective in May. None of them is correctable in August, when the extraction weight tells the story the May inspection could have read. This is the moment in the video where the inspection framework becomes a management decision system rather than a diagnostic curiosity, because the window is open right now, and it will not be open in the same way in 6 weeks. The 10-minute structure of the 1907 Ohio Protocol was not arbitrary. It reflected commercial beekeeping operations with dozens of hives and limited inspection time per colony, determining the minimum data collection that still produced actionable demographic projections from every visit. The protocol allocated time as follows: 2 minutes for brood nest footprint recording and comparison against the previous written record. 2 minutes for open cell ratio assessment within the active laying zone. 2 minutes for population trajectory recording, including adult bee coverage by frame. 2 minutes for super readiness confirmation, including drawn comb position and excluder timing. 2 minutes for bloom calendar alignment, including a written note on whether the current trajectory places the colony's forager peak before or after the anticipated late summer flow. 10 minutes per colony, data points recorded in sequence, comparison made against the previous visit, alignment calculation performed against a bloom calendar the beekeeper had already prepared at the season's start. What this protocol excluded is equally instructive. A queen search was not performed on every visit. A detailed disease symptom survey was not performed on every visit. A full frame-by-frame audit of every box in the stack was not performed on every visit. Those deeper investigations were reserved for visits where one of the 5 data points flagged a concern requiring closer attention. The routine May inspection was not a comprehensive audit. It was a targeted demographic reading performed quickly enough to be practical across a commercial apiary and precisely enough to generate actionable projections before the management window that May provides began closing toward the less correctable conditions of late June and July. The 1907 Ohio Protocol's documented production advantage over standard health assessment inspections was not primarily a result of catching problems earlier, though it did that. It was a result of generating demographic projections that allowed beekeepers to make proactive management decisions during the window where those decisions still changed August outcomes. A beekeeper who identifies a brood nest plateau in May and responds with a nucleus-based requeening has a colony whose new queen's laying will produce foragers at the August flow. A beekeeper who identifies an open cell ratio problem in May and responds with a drawn comb insertion at the correct position has a colony whose queen's output is corrected before it falls further behind the August demographic requirement. A beekeeper who identifies a misaligned super configuration in May has time to correct it before the forager unloading zone becomes congested during an active flow. None of these corrections is available in August. The extraction weight in August is the downstream output of decisions made or missed in May. The protocol's documentation across multiple commercial apiaries and multiple seasons established one finding with particular clarity. The colonies that consistently produced the heaviest late summer crops were not the colonies with the highest health assessment scores in May. They were the colonies whose 5 demographic data points in May were all aligned: expanding footprint, adequate open cell ratio, growing population, correctly positioned drawn comb, trajectory matching the bloom calendar. Perfect health scores without demographic alignment produced disappointing August results. Demographic alignment with adequate health produced reliable late summer crops. The May inspection that generates the demographic projection is the one that determines which outcome the season delivers. The management discipline that the 1907 Ohio Commercial Protocol encodes is available to any beekeeper who performs May inspections and carries a notebook rather than relying on memory. It requires no additional equipment beyond what a standard inspection already uses. It requires no additional time beyond 10 minutes of a standard brood nest assessment. It requires a different sequence of questions asked of the same frames the beekeeper was going to open anyway. The standard spring inspection asks, is this colony healthy enough to continue without intervention? The demographic inspection asks, is this colony on the trajectory that will produce the forager population the late summer flow demands? Both questions can be answered in 10 minutes. The first has been standard since the 1890s. The second was systematically answered by the most productive commercial operations of the early 1900s and has been systematically abandoned since. The May inspection window opens every year. The 5 data points are on the frames every beekeeper is already looking at. The bloom calendar for your regional forage landscape is information you already have or can easily obtain. The notebook is the only missing piece for most beekeepers, and what goes in it is not a comprehensive audit, but 5 recorded measurements in a 10-minute sequence that together tell you whether this colony will be ready in August or whether the window to correct it is still open and closing. The most productive Ohio commercial apiaries of 1907 read those 5 measurements every May as a matter of discipline. The biology they were reading has not changed. The window they were working within opens every May. It is open right now. If this inspection framework changes how you approach your next May visit, subscribe. There is more forgotten precision ahead.